how people wrote in the 15th century isn't really a lot different to how people write today. You need your basic tools of the trade, piece of paper to write on, something to write with, and some ink in it. The paper is easy enough. It's linen rag paper. Once you've worn your shirt and your younger brother's worn your shirt and it's done duty as a cleaning rag, it'll get sold on to the ragman who will take it down the paper mill and eventually it'll come back to you as paper. Now, next problem, the ink. Now, I'm lucky, being in the late 15th century, I can actually go out and buy it. But unfortunately, somebody has to make it, and they make it out of oak galls and iron filings. And the final ingredient, the pen. If you're going to make a pen, you need to start with your raw material, which is a big feather. One of the big flight feathers from the goose or even the swan is perfect. Your first action is to chop off the end to a reasonable pen length. Your second action is going to be strip off the barbs, the feathery bits, because they will only get in the way. The knife you use to cut your pen is your penknife, which is of course where the term comes from. There's several styles, obviously, everybody likes their own, but they all have a relatively small blade, usually sort of leaf-shaped, a bit like that. Some have the long handle that I like, and others have a tiny little one that just nestles in the palm of your hand. But they all have one thing in common. They are very, very sharp, because otherwise it will either just cut a ragged edge in your feather and it won't write very well, you'll get splutters, or alternatively it'll skid across the surface and chop your fingers off. And there we are, something that's already looking a lot more user-friendly. Right, this is the hard part. Everything that came before is all cosmetic. Now we actually cut the nib into the end because you can't write with just the feather. So, fingers crossed. Once you've done that, you put another 2 cuts in like this to start your nib. And the final shaping cut for your nib is you chop off the end to make a chisel point. Like that. And last of all, you put a lateral slit, or at least a score mark, on the inside of your nib to help the ink to flow. And there's your pen.